So Brian is an award-winning event planner with over 20 years of experience in the international events industry. He is the chief event architect and creative visionary of By Brian Green LLC based in Atlanta, creating amazing social and corporate events across the globe. He is a former diplomat for the country of Barbados. In 2017, he was the featured guest expert on the Steve Harvey Show on Fox for their annual wedding hour, where he presented great tips and advice on how to host the best wedding while avoiding the usual pitfalls. He has his designation as a certified wedding professional, as well as his certificate in meeting management, and is currently working on his first book with a publisher. Brian has been featured and published in every major publication, including Grace Ormonde, Brides Magazine, Inside Weddings, Muna Lucci Bride, Essence, The Knot, Be Collective, and that is just to name a few. As a part of his strong activism and belief in equity and inclusion, he currently serves as chairman of the board for the National Society of Black Wedding and Event Professionals. In 2021, he was named a mentor for the Not Wedding Wire Fellowship for the Change Program, and in 2022, he was named a TKWW Wedding Pro Educator, selected from thousands of professionals to be an ambassador for our industry and educate our peers on better business practices. So without further ado, everyone, please give a very loud welcome to Brian Green.
How's everyone doing? Great, so I'm not terribly coordinated, so two things in my hand could go left really fast. Are you guys hearing me pretty good? Let's screw the mic. If anyone has delicate sensibilities, I apologize. I swear like a pirate. It can happen at any point. Tara, I apologize. It just leaps out. So if you've seen me speak before, usually I'm a little crazy. I kind of always feel like I'm off kilter. Today is a little bit more of a serious conversation about a journey through empathy. And I think being here today to start your year off, to kind of really ground you, your board, and the amazing things that the board is about to do. I'm excited. I will be back to see all this good stuff. But to ground you in your businesses. So today we're going to start with a really true and very difficult story for me to tell. So in 2020, March 13th to be exact, I had the worst client experience of my life. Everything that could go wrong at this pro athlete's wedding went wrong. I mean, everything. Family members refusing to attend, equipment collapsing and failing with bride and groom sitting on it, catering forgetting large portions of the things that they were supposed to do. The list continued and continued, because as we all know, when one thing goes wrong, the train just starts moving really fast. 96% of it, there was nothing I could do, but as the planner, I'm the one that holds the responsibility. It's my task to make it right. I spent the next 4 months during lockdown, while everyone else was eating their feelings, I was dealing with attorneys for a client who had spent 3 months on social media telling everyone I was the worst human being she had ever met. Couple that with rescheduling clients, canceling events, dealing with my own depression in the middle of sitting at home and gaining 50 pounds in front of the fridge. I lost it. I saw the looks. But I reached a really, really dark space. And I got to a point where I could not see a way to tomorrow. And one afternoon, I went into my bathroom and I closed the door. And I stood in the bathroom and I thought for about 15 minutes, where do I put my body so that when my husband finds me, he is the least traumatized? how do I mitigate this thing that I need to do that he will be okay? That is what depression looks like. Because no matter where my body would have been, it wouldn't have been okay. And as I was kind of figuring out, do I sit on the toilet seat? Do I sit on the floor? Should I get into the tub? My phone rang. And for those of you that know Terica, she called and I clicked off the call. I was like, nope, not gonna answer. And she called back immediately and I answered the phone and she was like, did you just send me the voicemail? It's like, I'm a little busy. And we ended up talking for about 2.5 hours. And I told her kind of what was happening and what was going on, because in this period of time, all of the vendors who I thought were friends, who worked on this event, who had catastrophic failures to their things, disappeared. No one called me. No one checked on me. These are vendors that I gave millions of dollars to over the years in business. Everyone disappeared. And Terica proceeded to check on me every day since then till 15 minutes before I walked on stage just now. We all went through something horribly traumatic during the pandemic. Not as much as me. Some of you thought about it. Some of you know people who have dealt with it. But one of the things that became really clear to me as I started to go through therapy and get help, and by the way, blame my therapist for this topic, because she said to me, you're an educator, you should talk about this, you will change lives. So blame Suzanne. We all crave empathy, but we very rarely want to give empathy. We want people to feel for us, but we can't figure out why we should feel for them. So today we're going to talk about what empathy looks like, why it's important in an industry that leads with love, and how we all get there together. So first of all, can you teach empathy? Short, yes. Who's got kids? Who has access to kids, but not in a creepy way? Every parent in here, or when you were a child, remembers your parents teaching you about be nice to Billy, be kind, say thank you. Did you check to see if your little friend was okay? We teach kids empathy every day in formal and informal ways. And then we become adults and business owners and industry leaders, and we forget how to do the most basic of things. The most simplest of things we forget because we're busy. Because busy is an excuse for poor manners and for not caring about humanity. It doesn't work like that. So can you teach it? Yes. And we're going to talk today, and we're going to do an exercise today on empathy as well, on how you can kind of build that muscle. So what is empathy? It is the ability to understand and identify somebody else's feelings in a situation. Sounds simple, right? Sounds like we do that all the time. But 9 times out of 10, we are confusing empathy with sympathy. So sympathy is, oh my God, I'm so sorry for your loss. We all do that. We send a text, somebody put it on Facebook. They always put it on Facebook. But empathy is, I saw your post. How are you doing? What can I do for you? It's the extra step. The sad face emoji click was not empathy. Let me just repeat that. That sad face emoji, the broken heart, the new one, none of that is empathy. Reaching out in a constructive way and saying, hey, what can I do? How can I help? What do you need? That's empathy. So often in our industry, we are all about love. Hashtag love is love. But your vendor makes a mistake. Do you have any idea what they're going through in their lives at that moment that a mistake happened? You're just pissed off because the mistake affected you. I can't believe that they didn't bring, and how come? But I encourage you to pump your brakes and take a beat and start thinking about all the things that people go through. You know, the boomer generation believed that when you came to work, you left your personal life at home and you came into the office and you did the thing. But that's bullshit, right? Because if you're at work and your kid's got a fever and a dog spent the whole night throwing up on your good carpet, Elio, you can't get past thinking about that as your day progresses. You had an argument with your spouse in the car for leaving the kitchen door open again for the third night in a row. John, these things are real. So you're distracted and you make a mistake, but nobody wants to give mistakes a breath. We are perfect. Well, I call crap. We are not. What we are is intolerant. What we are is not understanding why empathy, particularly now, is far more important. One of the things that nobody talks about is the fact that in 2020 and 21 and 22, and God knows in 2023, we went through something ridiculously traumatic. We were all stuck in the house. Businesses dying, people deciding that they're no longer wedding planners and they're going to do real estate, people making candles and soap. All of a sudden, people were soap making experts. But we then went from that to the doors opened again, and we just rushed at it. We were just grabbing everything we could because we had 2 years of revenue that wasn't right. And no one stopped to take a minute and say, Jesus, that was a lot. What we went through was a lot. We just got back to pretending that nothing had happened. And we live in a generation now. Who here is Gen Z? God bless y'all. I love your generation so much because you are not putting up with the crap of millennials, geriatric or otherwise, Gen X like me, the fuck around and find out generation, or boomers. Gen Z moves with empathy throughout. They care about what's happening as a collective, and they will walk out of your job if they do not feel like they are protected, if they are not heard, and if they don't feel safe. And I got good news for you. If you're in this room, they are now your clients. They are getting married. The first 2 sets of Gen Zers are ready to go. So if you don't have your stuff together, it's not going to happen. But let's talk about really where we sit in stats right now. This was taken in 2021. These numbers are pretty much the same when I checked them last week. There's been a 42% decline in mental health. 67% increase in stress. Who's feeling more stressful? 30% having a difficulty concentrating. Who's doing something and then you fade off? 53% are sad and irritable. 54 are just emotionally exhausted. And 57% increase in anxiety. At some point, everybody's hand in this room went up. That is what we're dealing with every day. And living in a space where we feel like we're doing it on our own, many times. Who feels that they're kind of moving through this thing and they're doing it the best they can, how they can, but there's not a lot of support? It's a lot of us. And then there's the other group who believes that there's a lot of great support, and you pray that you didn't end up in a space where I was, and that support proves to be thin and transparent. One of the things that we're seeing a lot now is workplace incivility. People are just rude. If you're on TikTok, you have seen every Karen on the planet screaming at some poor Gen Zer who is just pouring a smoothie. What the hell? But no one has patience. No one has tolerance. We're just angry all the time. And it blurts itself out in ridiculous ways. For straight men who have been taught to push your emotions down, y'all on TikTok too. Losing your shit. No one has patience. No one's understanding that you're not a silo. You don't get to stand alone. You live in this world, in this space with other people. And your feelings, your very big, big feelings, are not the only ones in the room. There's other people that you're exchanging experiences with. Be it a client who you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, be it a vendor that you don't know that their business is in trouble, but they're trying to hold on and do the best they can. Be it yourself that you're just in a space today where you just want to lay in your bed and cry. No one's taking time to stop and say, hey, are you good? Are you okay? One of the things I used to do terribly, and I have worked really hard at stopping it, is, you're driving and someone cuts you off. Well, I speak fluent French when I'm there. And I used to let them know what I thought about them and their mother and all of their soon-to-be children. But I started thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, this person cut me off, but I have no idea if they are rushing to the hospital to see their grandmother for the last time. I don't know if they're rushing because their house is on fire. I have no idea what's happening in their day. And maybe instead of getting all hyped and angry, just let them pass. Let them go. They could also be an asshole. That is quite possible. But either which way, I've chosen not to let it affect me. I've chosen the choice of being empathetic in a space where I don't have all the information, where I know that what they're going through is nothing I can experience. But let me get out of the way and save my car and let them do what they're doing. Challenge y'all to try it. Took about 3 months. I'm really good at it now, but I wasn't that great when I started. But that's why you can learn empathy if you practice it more and more. So as a leader, it's also a really great critical tool, especially, as I said, in an industry where the Z's will get up and leave you and not give you 2 weeks' notice because you didn't deserve 2 weeks' notice because you didn't behave like a human being. You spent your time screaming and yelling about mistakes, but never celebrating the successes. This is a generation that believes in validation. And if you think that that is, they want too much, no, they're asking for the bare minimum. They're literally asking for the bare minimum. Who has teams? If you're a planner and you work with vendors, you have teams. Got news flash for you. You don't work alone. She's got to bring the chairs. Ricky got to bring the cake. Somebody else got to bring the flowers. This is a team. So you have a team. And if you aren't aware of what's going on with your team, you're going to lose the plot. And your events are going to struggle. Because no one wants to work with a jackass. No one. So when you call, she's going to say, oh my God, we're booked. All of our stuff's gone. It's sitting in the warehouse. but she doesn't want to subject her staff to your abuse. No one's going to do that anymore. So why is empathy important? With globalization, people know that there's better out there. They don't have to put up with your bullshit. You want to retain talent. To keep talent is better than finding new talent over and over and over again. And also, because it allows you to retain a creative group of people who can continue to help you flourish. So let's talk about the types of empathy. So there's cognitive empathy, which is I acknowledge that you're going through something and I feel really badly about it and I wonder if you're good. Then there is emotional empathy. This is the person who takes on everybody else's woes. Who's that? There's always at least two in a room. Where you feel very overwhelmed by what somebody else is going through. And the space that we really kind of want to move to is compassionate empathy, which is, I feel terrible that you're experiencing this thing. If you need help, let me know how I can help. That is the most useful version of empathy. But we will take the bare minimum of cognitive. Who has a friend that you know is really tight, close friend of yours? You know when they're going through something. Their mood changes. They love to dress and all of a sudden they're in sweats. They're not returning phone calls or text messages as fast. But we're so busy, we acknowledge it, but did we check in? Now they'll call, they'll be fine. I had so many people say to me after people who know me and have heard this conversation say, but you're always the strong one. Who's the strong one in their group? Who's the one everyone calls when they got problems? Who's the one people turn to because they know you're the good one? You'll help me through it. Who's helping you? Who's there for you? Who's showing up for you? Make sure that you can talk to your circle and your group and your peers and your friends about your emotional needs. Hey, I'm struggling right now. I need a minute. I need to talk. I need to walk away and come back. I just took a month and a half off from National Society of Black Wedding Event Professionals because I needed a breath. And I told my board, I am taking a month. Don't burn nothing down. I will be back. It was important. Who believes in mental health days and breaks? All right, no, keep them up. Who's doing it? Who said every day? I love you. You were going to talk to them about how to do that.
5 seasons of a crowd in 1 week, baby.
I love that. So, Mental Health Day does not mean 6 shots of vodka and falling asleep with Netflix on. That is not what it means. And do not watch Perfect Match. That shit's gonna piss you off. God. Never seen a set of people so awful in my life. So how do we develop empathy at work? Listen. My grandmother used to say, listening is not waiting for your turn to talk. Listening is not waiting for your turn to talk. Who's got one of those friends that you start telling them something and then they got the same thing but worse? Ooh, child, it's worse. Yo, we love them. They ain't your friend. Cut them off. Do not dismiss somebody's concerns. If somebody has taken the energy to come to you and say, I'm having a problem, I'm having a challenge. Do not do the, you'll be fine, you always pull through, it's not a problem. It took them a lot of courage and effort and energy to trust you with this thing, and you're dismissing it. If you don't realize that's what you're doing, you're dismissing it, makes them feel like they're standing in a space alone and they've got nowhere to turn. So if you have a staff member who says to you, I'm really struggling with X, Y, and Z, and your response is, you'll be all right, you always push through, you're strong. They're not, and they're asking for help. Paying attention to non-verbal cues, like I was talking about with your friends. You know when somebody's down, you know when somebody's not in a great space. They don't have to say it, you can see it. Body language does 93% of the work. We know immediately when somebody is off their game. If you know them well enough, I can even walk into a room typically, you don't have to know everyone, you can look in the room and say, oh, that person is sad. That person's pissed off. That one's had something to smoke. You can tell what's going on in a room, you've got spatial awareness, you know what's happening. So are you standing up for the people in your circle when you know that they're struggling? Are you saying, I see you? Because ultimately, that's all every human wants. All we want is to be seen and heard and acknowledged and validated. That's it. Basic, bare minimum stuff. Using people's names. Sounds simple, till you have a unique name. Uzo Aduba from Orange is the New Black and Therapy and all these other great shows has this great conversation that she talks about when she was in high school. She wanted to change her name to Jenny or Alice or whatever it was. And her mother said to her, if they can say Tchaikovsky, and if they can say Dostoevsky, they can say Uzumaki Aduba. Changing someone's name because you're too lazy to call them by their actual name is ridiculous. How many people here have an Americanized version of their name that they use if you are not from America originally? What's your actual name?
My Middle Eastern name or my American name?
Yeah, your Middle Eastern name. So that is what I will now call you from now on, because that is your name and your mother gave you that name and it is beautiful. And Jenny is to make people comfortable. But your name has power. It is the thing that was given to you at birth, or the name that you chose when you've decided who you are. It is the thing you hold that has the most power. So if you are diminishing yourself so that somebody else can be comfortable at the jump, you continue to do that to yourself. You continue to not feel that you're standing in your power. And you continue to feel like people don't have full empathy because you're calling them by their full name. Why can't they call you yours? Your name is beautiful. Being fully present with someone who is dealing with something. Who's got that friend that you're talking to them and you're talking about something serious and they're also on their cell phone? They're on Twitter, TikTok, updating their OnlyFans, whatever. We are starting OnlyFans accounts. We talked about that earlier. Y'all could judge, I'm gonna pay these bills, y'all could judge all you want. But being fully present with someone when they're talking to you about something is a gift. To be fully present. You've got a little kid that's telling you this fantastical story that makes no sense 13 seconds into it, but you're enraptured by them. You're like, really? And the frog ate the car? Oh my God, that's incredible. And you see that child's face and they're enraptured and they're delighted because they matter. It works for adults too. When we take the time to look someone in their face and say, I hear you, I'm holding space for you, that's huge. It is important, it's life-changing. Do not belittle that. Do not think it doesn't matter. Encouraging the people in your life. I have a really, really great friend in the industry, Michelle Gainey. She does Cardi B and Mary J and Pepsi and all these big brands. And I will call her after every event that she posts and say, girl, you did that. You're amazing. You are killing the game. Because it takes nothing off of me to celebrate her successes. I'm not jealous because I didn't book them. I don't know what they're doing to her behind the scenes. I have no idea. All we get to see is what's really pretty on Instagram. We think, oh, I wish that should have been my client. That is not your client. Your client would have booked you. That is her client. Stop looking at other people's stuff wishing you got crumbs. Stop it. Yours is yours. What they went through, you have no idea. I sat in a bathroom. But if you saw that wedding on social, you would have thought, oh my God, must have been amazing. No. I was willing to give up living because of what I went through. Don't judge what you're seeing other people experience. You have no idea. But it takes nothing out of me to call her and say, man, you are killing it. That is amazing. I am so proud that you're in this industry with me. I love that that's happening. Because what did it take? Nothing. That's my friend. That's my colleague. That's my peer. It's not that difficult. Giving real, true, genuine recognition and praise. If you're only telling your team when they do something wrong, you're a shitty leader. Straight up. You're not great. A leader encourages and motivates. A leader holds space and shares the space. That's what a leader does. That's the difference. So if I'm walking over and say, my God, you guys killed that wedding. When I talk to my team, I'm like, you guys killed that wedding last week. That was incredible. After every event, I also send an email to all the vendors on one email, thanking each of them specifically for what they did to make that event a success, so that everyone can see that this was a team effort. I do it every single time. And vendors are like, oh my God, you sent that email again. Yes, because you killed it and it was amazing and I want everyone to know. And when we get these pictures, we're gonna show off. But I want you to know what was amazing. I'm not only gonna call you and say, well, you know, the florals on the cake table fell over. Like, okay, I can't fix that. We can talk about it, but I want to celebrate the things that we did great. Because when I call you and I say, I am so sorry, they added 3 more bridesmaids this morning. And I need bouquets. You're going to say to me, I got you. Because you know that I appreciate when you go above and beyond. By the way, I'm going to make them pay you. You ain't doing it for free. But you're going to do it because you know that I will make sure you're appreciated for it. That's the difference. That's partnership. That's empathy in action. So the more we use the muscle of empathy, the better we get at it, the more natural it feels. Some people are empathetic by nature. Some people call themselves empaths. Typically, those are people who are emotional. So you probably feel the feelings a lot in our space. Those things are what we want to get better at, feeling what's happening. So how does it contribute to the workplace? By leading with emotional intelligence. I don't know if you can see these, so I'll read them. Typically I don't, but I'll read them. It's a little far away. So innovation. When people feel they work in an empathetic space, they're more apt to come to you as a leader, as a boss, as a peer, and say, hey, you know, I was thinking about this event, and what if we did this, because they know that you're going to hold space for something creative. And you're going, oh my God, that's amazing. Let's do that. That's awesome. You didn't just cut off the experience because you're holding space as a good leader. Engagement. 76% of people who experience empathy from their leaders are going to stick around. They're going to be more engaged in the job. Ultimately, that's what we want to do. We want people to be more engaged in the work that we're doing. We want to know that they're not just quiet quitting, which, by the way, I love that phrase so much. Retention. 57% of white women and 62% of women of color said they will stay if they feel that they're working in a space of empathy. That is huge. And if you don't know, we work in an industry, look around, primarily of women. So if you are not stepping up to the plate, either as a woman leader or a male leader, you are losing the plot. Your staff is on the internet looking for a job. Inclusivity. 50% of people with empathetic leaders report that working in a workplace that's inclusive makes a huge difference. Reese Witherspoon has this great conversation. She talks about, if you've ever watched any movie in Hollywood, there's always a part in the movie where the woman looks up at this man and she goes, what do we do now? What woman on the planet does not know what to do at any second of the day? Got a plan, got a backup plan, got it sorted out, know the route we taking, why we gonna do it, and they're gonna save money while we doing it. That trope exists because there's a bunch of men in a room named Chad, Thad, and Brad who are writing what they think women do. Oh yeah, the pretty ladies, the hell? Absolutely not. When people are included in the conversation, empathy blooms, retention flourishes, work-life becomes a thing, not the balance of it. Work-life is more like a juggling experience. Right now you're focusing on the ball that's up in the air and then the next one. But you get that experience, you get that joy and that collective, the thing that we got into this industry for. Oh, we love to see people get married and have happy afters and all that. But if you were fighting and struggling and mad and angry and can't focus on all the things in this journey towards creating these blissful moments, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? How many people here own their own business? We got into this to create income and peace. My business is supposed to nourish me and allow me to do the things I want to do in life. I'm not supposed to be trapped to it. I shouldn't be resentful of it. I shouldn't hate it every day. We get to hate it every now and then. But if you are hating it more than you're loving it, you're not in a space of feeling like you're in a community of people who are here to help. You're functioning in a space where you are slowly, and you might not know it yet, but you're slowly closing in your walls around you. Because now you can only depend on yourself, and you can only trust yourself. And I can only do things if I do it myself. And that is not a great place to be in. So, listening and learning how someone is affected by something and acting on it and telling them that you know that something's happening and that they need support and you are that support and you are here to be help, that's empathy. Just telling them I'm sorry for your loss is sympathy. It's not the same train, not the same journey. Some of the amazing benefits of being leaders who lead directly with empathy: you create loyalty. People want to work for someone that they believe, sees them, values them, supports them. I will show up for you 24/7 if I feel that you care about me. I will show up for you hard. Because for those of us who have businesses, I just want to remind you, the business dream is ours. It's not our employees. It's not our teams. Their dream is a check. Their dream is respect. The dream of this business doing all the things that you want it to do, that is our dream. So as great leaders, we get them to come on this journey, but they're never going to love it the way you love it. They're never going to put into it the things that you put into it, because ultimately, that holding of that dream is yours. But we, as business leaders and owners, get to hold their dreams also and do it respectfully. That's huge to me. Understanding other people's experiences. Knowing that we live in a space where our experience is not the only one in the room that matters is huge. It is important. Knowing that you can have people who can come to you and say, I need help, I'm struggling. If you are not that person, find someone on your team who is, while you practice the skills. Because everyone needs a space, someone to go to. Who texted a friend today something like, I need to talk to you later? Oh, just me? Fine, that's fine. Because I'm empathetic. They're also great bosses because they're quick at making changes. Floral, amazing florals, by the way. You killed it today. Yeah. Do not steal her vases. If she's got a huge event happening and she walks into the studio and she can see that one of her team is struggling a little bit, she knows that that person's going to be on lighter duty today when somebody else is going to take the heavy weight. She's not going to overburden them because she already can see that they're struggling. She's going to say to them, hey, I know we got a heavy load today. Are you okay? How can I help? No, I'm fine, which is typically our reaction. I'm fine. But as a leader, you need to be able to say, okay, that's great, but you do this, we're going to do this over here to help you today. That's a great leader, being able to look at the room and be able to decide, how do I get the best out of my team? How do I get the best out of the experience? Because the business still has to continue. But how do I do it in a way that encourages them to know that I see and I hear and I understand? That is hugely different. So, being present. Be fully present when someone's talking to you. Kid, friend, spouse, business partner, client. Be fully present. All people want is to feel this, that connection. That's all they want. If you are a face shifter, you're an eye darter, stand in a mirror and practice just looking back at yourself. People want to feel connected to you. Right here, OnlyFans. Listen more than you speak. If someone's telling you about stuff that they're going through and you're talking more, they're not telling you anything. They've shut down and you haven't noticed it because you're doing this great speech. That's not helpful. Listen way more than you speak. Being curious about people. On your teams, do you know who's got kids? Do you know the kids' names? Do you know how old they are? Do you know if they have a spouse, a partner? Do you know if they rent or they own? Do you know any of the things that are generic about them? Or do you just know that their name is Charlie and they come to work every Thursday at 3? Taking an interest in the people that surround you and help you grow your business is huge. Be able to say, hey, Emily, how are the kids? Are they doing great? Like, that's important. She's, oh my God, you paid attention when I said it the last time. Like, you remembered that. That was amazing. Those things matter. And we do it so infrequently nowadays that just the basic things we forget. Paying attention to body language. You know, you can feel it. You know when something's off, even with yourself. And if something's off with yourself, take a minute to acknowledge that. And be like, hang on, everything's not aligned today. I need to sit down and take a minute. I need to take a beat. I need to walk around the room, whatever it is, acknowledging that the space you're in, you need a minute to kind of pull everything back together. Because you may be in a space where somebody is not empathetic and is paying no attention, and they're pushing through. But you need the minute. That's hugely important. So one of the basic things about building great empathy is listening. So today we're going to do a listening exercise. So I want you to hear what I'm asking you to do, and then we're going to do it. So at your tables, you're going to turn to the person next to you. And for 90 seconds, hang on, I want you to pay full attention. I want you to listen and not talk. So I'll wait till you guys stop talking and then I'll finish so you can listen. For 90 seconds, the first person is going to tell the second person something about their life. All you're going to do is listen. It is not a conversation. You're not talking back. You're not answering questions. You are listening for 90 seconds. And then when that 90 seconds is done, you'll switch and you will tell that person something about your life for 90 seconds without talking or answering questions. It is not a conversation. It is a listening exercise. And go. So, who struggled to just listen?
Everyone.
You guys did really good. Just listening is hard. We just did it for 90 seconds. No one going through anything is only talking to you for 90 seconds. Listening is a learned skill. Listening and being fully present is what that exercise was about. And we had some strugglers over here, and some strugglers over here, and a complete meltdown over there. But that's okay. Because what this was an acknowledgement that that is something you can continue to listen and learn and do. 90 seconds today, 2 minutes tomorrow. So that when that person that you care about calls and says, I really need to talk, remember two things. Most times when somebody says they need to talk, let me preface this, I'm talking to straight men specifically. They are not asking you for a solution. Then we should talk outside about what's happening in your life that made you awesome. But if you have a husband, straight or gay, they always got the answer that nobody asked for. So, listening, practice it. If you really want to learn to listen really, really well, listen to your partner tell a story that you've heard 54 times. But it's an important thing to them. They keep telling it because it's a great moment in their life. And you're rolling your eyes and going, oh, God, again. Literally diminishes that joy that they have in that moment. So learning to listen with empathy and being present with someone for 90 seconds, for 30 seconds exchange at Starbucks to get a coffee, for 5 minutes with somebody you care about, for an hour for someone that really needs you. is such a little thing to ask, but such a big thing that can change someone's lives. To the board, I want to thank you so much for having me today, but more importantly, I'm really grateful that I'm able to be here on this planet today. So, thank you all. Aww. Y'all try to make me